In some parts of the sugar industry, growers are moving towards the use of liquid fertilisers as opposed to the old bagged granular products. Why is this change occurring, and are liquid fertilisers as good as the traditional granulated products? We'll answer those questions shortly, but in the meantime, what do we really mean by liquid fertilisers? The most commonly used liquid nitrogen fertilisers in cane comprise granulated urea dissolved in water, often with phosphorus, potassium or sulphur added. In some regions, mixtures of dunder and dissolved urea are commonly used. Trace elements are sometimes included. What are the benefits of liquid fertilisers over solids? Here's Lawrence DeBella from Herbert Cane Productivity Services Limited in Ingham.
What we've seen in the Herbert over the last few years is an increase in liquid fertiliser applications throughout the region, and that's been driven because a lot of growers are looking at trying to cover large areas very quickly. And we have one example last year where one farmer had two liquid fertiliser applicators putting out 500 acres of fertiliser in one day. So some of the country we farm is quite difficult to get on regularly, so it's very quick, it's fast, and the other thing is we don't have fertiliser bags to deal with. So from a safety perspective, it's quite useful. The costs of putting out liquid is quite competitive when you're looking at large scale, where a lot of our rigs are doing between 7 and 9 rows at a time. We did some trial work in the Herbert recently, and what we found is applying fertilisers, both liquid and granule subsurface, there was a significantly lower runoff losses in nutrients exporting out of the end of the field. The next best treatment was liquid under pressure, and most of the units that are operating in Ingham are operated under high pressure. Our recommendation is either to apply fertiliser subsurface or under pressure if it's a liquid formulation. The cost of liquid fertiliser against granulated fertiliser differs from grower to grower and situation to situation. So what we recommend is growers get their own price. Some of the advantages of the liquid is the fertiliser is purchased in bulk, it's mixed, whereas smaller growers usually have to buy smaller quantities and don't get that economies of scale that they can do with the liquid fertilisers.
Cameron Little is a fertiliser supplier from Ingham. I asked Cameron why many growers have recently turned to using liquid fertilisers. Cameron, in the last few years in Ingham, there's been a fairly big upsurge in the use of liquid fertilisers as opposed to granular fertilisers. Why has that happened, do you think?
We started doing the liquid here, this is our 10th year, and we've seen the gain in momentum, the ease of application. Basically we're putting the same nutrients as the granular counterpart, but it's the time saving, the workplace health and safety, and also our ability to put micronutrients as well, trace elements, that are consistent through a load.
When liquid fertiliser is applied on the trash blanket, for example, not under pressure, are you concerned about any volatilisation losses?
We also spray it under quite a bit of pressure, so we're putting 1,000 litres per hectare, and if you wait for the tractor to go through to the end of the paddock and you dig through the trash, it's already into the ground about 3 or 4 centimetres in about 20 seconds.
Michael Castorina is a planting contractor in the Herbert region. Michael says he prefers to work with liquids largely because it saves valuable time. Michael, how do you find liquid fertilisers as opposed to the old traditional bulk granulated fertilisers?
For us, the biggest thing is the saving of time. Filling up the fertiliser boxes normally takes 10 minutes or so when they're getting water and put the chemical in. Liquid fertiliser, by the time you pump the water in, you pump the fertiliser in and you're ready to go. So there's time saving benefits, the ease of application. You can increase and decrease the rate on the go from in the tractor. If the farmer wants some different soil types. And the difference with granules and weather like this, you might have trouble with the shoots blocking up, not the right rate going out, it changes rate. So we find a big advantage. Main thing is the time and safety. No bag lifters, not having to climb under bags and all that type of thing.
So how much time do you reckon you do save?
Probably close to, on a big day, I'd say 14 or 15 hours, probably close to an hour and a half to 2 hours a day you would save and make up time and actual planting time instead of getting bags, fertilisers, waiting to put fertiliser in the fertiliser boxes where you can just jump in and go.
Let's recap the advantages of using liquid fertilisers. Application is fast, there are no problems with blockages or uneven flow, farm safety is improved, and suppliers can easily provide individual blends. But what are the disadvantages? If used correctly and at rates that apply the same quantity of nutrients as granular fertiliser, the only disadvantage of liquids might be the cost. Growers should calculate and compare the real cost of nutrients obtained from both the liquid and solid forms based on the amount of nitrogen applied per hectare. Even if the liquid form is more expensive, the advantages mentioned above may outweigh that extra cost for some growers. It will be a matter of personal choice. What's the correct application method for liquid fertilisers? Well, as a general rule, subsurface application is recommended. Surface application onto the soil or trash blanket risks the same nitrogen volatilisation losses as surface application of any urea-based product. Brings us back to our original question, are liquid fertilisers any good? They are, and provided the 6 easy steps recommended rates are adhered to. Placement is also very important, and the other consideration is cost. You need to work out the cost per kilo of nitrogen per hectare compared with granulated product. Liquid fertilisers have a place if you find them more convenient to use, you find them safer to use, and the cost is acceptable.